What up guys, we are back with a Thriller Thursday. And today we are covering the final episode of Mass History. So we are doing the 90s all the way to now. So let's get into it. So we just got done with the 80s. Pat Newman just did her final sculpt for Don Post Studios, which was Mesmer, final piece she did. So, Paper Magic Studio, which was I believe like a paper novelty company. I may be getting that wrong, but they had a lot of money, and this was in Scranton. I'm being serious. They were located in Scranton, Pennsylvania. They ended up buying the rights to Don Post Studios. And to be honest, they really did not do a great job with the acquisition, but we'll get into that in the future. They bought Don Post Studios, and they were making them have more, licenses and rights, and they were making things, but things were being made at a very low quality substantial. The really cool thing that came out of this though was the reissues of the calendar masks. Darren Perks helped resculpt the original 1964, 66 masks from Don Post's golden age. He resculpted them, they laser scanned them, resculpted them, and they tried to paint them to the best of their ability, just like the calendar masks. They turned out really cool, and they're actually really hard to come by now. They used to be really easy to find, but they have mask rust and they're like easily rotting and they're kind of hard to come by. He did all of the Universal Monsters masks. He did, Frankenstein, Gillman, Wolfman, Mummy, Dracula. I believe he did the Boris Karloff Frankenstein as well. I think that's it. I might be missing some more. I have a lot of info to put in the video, so I may not be hitting everything right on point. So I'm just letting y'all know. Sorry for the incorrections. So in the 90s as well, an amazing sculptor named Mario Chiodo created Elusive Concepts with rubies. I'm not exactly sure how the story started because I haven't done too much research into them, but I do know some really cool facts about Mario Chiodo and his work and his legacy. He's still alive, he's not dead. I don't know why I said legacy, but his work is amazing. I love you, Mario. Elusive Concepts brought a really new style to the genre of masks, really oversized large masks with cool craggly detail, unique designs that were like never really seen before in the mask game, and he really revolutionized that. Also, the muted color palette was just really cool as well because, fun fact, he's colorblind. So he wasn't able to exactly paint things like colorful, but he always went with the muted tone, which honestly, it works for his style and it's beautiful. And during this time, I believe it was Topstone, Paper Magic Group / Don Post, and Elusive Concepts team up to make The Great Cover-Up. The Great Cover-Up was just basically like a merger company where they can just throw in their designs, and it's just another way to make money, I guess. I might be wrong on that, but The Great Cover-Up was one of those companies where everybody put in their masks and it was like a big collaboration folder pretty much. And around that time, some cool masks were being made, like Moon Fan, I believe, and a Michael Myers with a negative color palette where he had like white hair and black skin. It was really interesting. Some really interesting designs came out of that company. Jacob Marley's Ghost as well from Elusive Concepts, aka, Chiodo. And also The Great Cover-Up as well would also be like crossovers, like Mario Chiodo would sculpt for Don Post, or like this company would sculpt for this company, vice versa. I might be wrong on that. I haven't done too much research on that. I bet Justin maybe would know some better, info on that. So, 2000. Some resculpts were going on at the time. Jordu Show with I believe the 2008 Carlisle. Cool story on that one. Jordu wanted to sculpt hair on it, and I believe there's a master somewhere that has sculpted hair. But Don Post Jr. said, nah, just give him a wig. We're good. And they ended up doing a wig. Early 2000s, there was a lot of reissues going on because they realized Don Post was kind of running out of money. They were running a little thin. So if they bought out collectors like, we just remade this mask, or we brought this mask from the dead, people would flock to it, which they ended up doing that. But the problem was the latex was very bad and it was very thin and it rotted very fast at times. So, not great. Around the 2000s was the rise of independent mask makers. Justin Mabry, Aaron Lewis, there's so many names I can think of. Darren Perks stuff as well. Alterian Ghost Factory also came out in the 90s as well. It was just so many mask companies rising up at that time that I can't even name them. Notably, Chris Zeffro and Justin Mabry created Trick or Treat Studios in 2009. They ended up going, I believe it was a Halloween Expo or a Trans World, with a bunch of designs from Justin, you know, from the Night Owl stuff, and Eric Labate, maybe some stuff from Airloose. I might be wrong on that part, please correct me. A lot of designs came together during that time, and honestly, I'm glad they exist because without them, a lot of mask companies would not be inspired by them. On September 6th, 2012, Don Post Studios went out of business. They were bought by Gemmy. Gemmy is one of the biggest Halloween companies at the time. They were making inflatables and like cool animatronics. And the thing is they bought them out and they did nothing with the license. So they just bought them out and just stole their money and basically did nothing with it, which is horrible. Don Post is gone, but we still got Zagoni, we still got Distortions, you know, we got Trick or Treat Studios now, which are hitting the big fucking markets. They're getting some great licenses, some great sculptors. I mean, amazing pieces all around. In 2015, Lee Lambert, a mask enthusiast, a critic, a man of fine taste, he started writing a book called The Illustrated History of Don Post Studios. I think I got that right. He ended up making a convention called DonCon in the beginning of November in 2015, which basically was kind of like an appreciation, showing the history of Don Post, advertising his new book. And in a way, it was like a reunion for everybody. Some new masks were really being sculpted there, like Ancient Evil with Bob Short and Justin Mabry for Trick or Treat Studios, which is like a B. Garrett Theta kind of mashup, but with Nosferatu. Really cool mask, really cool mask. January 1st, 2015, the Book of Don Post released. Also, Lee Lambert also made a Distortion Unlimited book in like 2017 as well. So around this time, masks are booming. There's so many independent mask makers. I started in 2020. You know, it's freaking amazing. At the end of 2022, beginning of 2023, Trick or Treat Studios announced that they bought the rights to Don Post Studios, Top Stone, and The Great Cover-Up and Elusive Concepts. How amazing is that, dude? I mean, what? Like, what? Dude, when I saw the news, I like full on freaked out. I was like, what the hell? What? My good friend, Monster Skull Studios, actually ended up helping with this big project that they're doing right now. And I'd like to say that Don Post Studios and Top Stone and some, Elusive Concept masks are back on the market. They're back in full swing. They're in Halloween stores, dude. You can buy them online. You can be a monster kid again. But it's safe to say is without Don Post and all these great mask companies, all of us would not be inspired. And honestly, we wouldn't have like amazing masks to go off of. Masks are the original FX artists' form. That's their original way of showing off their work was masks. Rick Baker made masks. Norman Cabrera made masks with a spoon in his kitchen. I mean, the possibilities are endless. And masks is where it pretty much starts. And then, after that, you start doing prosthetics and herring and all that crazy noise. But masks is where it starts because it's a good guideline to anatomy. So without Don Post and all those amazing FX artists in the world, masks wouldn't exist. Thanks to whoever came up with the idea of that, I thank you. We all thank you. Thank you for, Justin and his team literally resurrecting these vintage companies from the dead. It's amazing to see that. As I said, there was so much information, so many people, so many dates, so many masks being made. I most likely forgot a lot of things. I probably cherry-picked. Want to apologize about that if I got anything wrong. Please feel free to correct me. I'm always trying to grow my knowledge of it more. Thank you so much for tuning in, and it was honestly awesome seeing y'all just respond to this. It was great. Thank you guys. And Monster Kids for life. Let's do it.